Hello there, welcome to yet another edition of the Lagos Transportation Agenda. As you well know, if you've been following us all this while, this is a show in which we showcase current events, topical issues, and emerging trends in the dynamic world of transportation. My name is Austin Inyang, your host. And today we are looking again at the dynamics of transportation in Lagos State from the perspective of the work of the Ministry of Transportation in the state. And with me on the show today is a man that I would call a consummate professional, as well as a mentor and supporter of the work that the Lagos Transportation Agenda has been trying to do in these past few months. I am talking about the Permanent Secretary in the Lagos State Ministry of Transportation, Engineer Abdulhafis Gbolahan Toriola. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Let me formally, on behalf of the crew of the Lagos Transportation Agenda, congratulate you on your elevation. The last time we spoke on this show, you were still in your previous position. And I want to say that it's well-deserved, your elevation. We congratulate you, sir.
Thank you very much. And thanks for your support always.
Yes, you're welcome. Engineer Toriola and I will be discussing the dynamics of the work of the Lagos State Ministry of Transportation as far as, actualizing the seamless, integrated multimodal transportation system in Lagos State is concerned when the Lagos Transportation Agenda returns after this time out. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Is the Lagos Transportation Agenda, and my guest, as I said, is Engineer Abdulhafis Gbolahan Toriola, the Permanent Secretary of the Lagos State Ministry of Transportation. On the show today, we are taking a particular look at traffic law regulation and the area of traffic management in the state. Let me start by asking, what has been the experience since you became PS? I know, of course, that you are a long-time player in this ministry, but of course, this is a whole new level of engagement. So just give us a glimpse of what has been the experience since you became Permanent Secretary.
Thank you very much. It has been more challenges because what we are trying to do is to see how we can actually relate or perform in line with the best practice or global standard, which is very key for us to move transition in line with the 10 principles of United Nations urban mobility principles, which is very key for us because when you look at Lagos, you talk about urbanization. Yes. When you talk about urbanization, you have to talk about motorization. Exactly. When you have the population growing, how will they move? Without any conflicts. Yes. Without congestion. These are the issues. And that is why it is, thank God that we have transport sector reform laws. We have different policies and regulations in the state to be able to drive the vision of the Ministry of Transportation with the mission attached to it. Exactly. The vision is a goal. With the mission now to be able to achieve your vision. Exactly. And we have been working with all our MDAs, our departments and agency of the Ministry of Transport. I must tell you, we have about almost 9 agencies in the Ministry of Transportation to complement the effort of the Ministry of Transport. Yes. So we have agencies which, they have been given a specific role to perform, to be able to achieve the objective of the Ministry of Transportation. You
have touched briefly on an area I was going to, come to, the issue of coordinating the work of all these agencies that under your ministry in a way that ensures seamless performance, and again, avoid the distraction of duplication of functions, where you see a situation where one is doing the work of another and eventually they come into conflict. Nobody knows who is responsible for what. I think largely the Lagos State in particular, that is not the case. There's really no duplication of functions. How is the ministry able to achieve that seamless coordination of activities?
Thank you very much. When you look at the Transport Sector Reform Law 2018, they were EU initially, and the ministry came up with that law to be able to specify each agency responsibilities.
Yes.
When you look at the part 1 of the Transport Sector Reform, they talk about the ministry responsibility.
Yes.
When you look at part 2, talk about the vehicle inspection service. When you look at part 3, talk about what? Talk about LASTMA.
LASTMA, yes.
Lagos State Traffic Management Authority. When you look at 4, talk about Lagos State Parking Authority. You see, and from there, they have their functions.
Exactly.
And they also have the law that empower them to be able to carry out their responsibility. Lamata has their role in view of the law.
Exactly.
Lagos State Drivers Institute, they have their own law.
Yes.
Lagos State Ferry Service, they have their own. Lagos State Waterways Authority, they have their own.
Exactly.
So the law has specified responsibilities of each agency under the MOT. So this has resolved the issue of overlapping functions among MDAs, among the agency in MOT, in Ministry of Transportation, which is very key. And that is why we normally have a regular meeting with all the agencies under the MOT to be able to look at what they are doing, because the role of the Ministry of Transport is to look at the functions of these agencies, whether they are performing, they are operating in line with their functions, and if they have issue as a ministry that has the overall interest of the state, we'll now be able to assist them in achieving their own objectives or their responsibilities, and also call them to order if they are going outside their responsibility. They are what I call mandate blinds.
Yes.
For they are supposed to work in line with their mandate. If they are going outside their mandate, then I'll be able to tell them that this is your mandate.
Exactly.
Please work within your mandate. And if they have issue as a ministry, we'll be able to assist them to solve such challenges they may have. And that is very key for the ministry. And that has streamlined the whole thing. I think the Lagos State government has done a lot to be able to identify challenges with agencies and put a specific role for each agency.
Well done. Okay, let's look at again the work of the ministries, agencies, and all that, and the engagement with the public, which is meant to serve. Now, looking at the 2012 traffic laws, amended in 2018 by the state government, which stipulates offences as well as penalties for infractions, of those offenses. Let's look at compliance. Would you say, from your experience having been in this ministry for this long, would you say there's been a higher level of compliance or a lower level of compliance since then? And what do you think needs to be done that has perhaps not been done so adequately in the past few years?
Actually, what government wants from the motorists is voluntary compliance, to be able to comply with
ideally
rules and regulations of the state for the safety of all of us. But you find out that despite the government effort in terms of enlightenment, education, advocacy in general,
yes,
we have seen just a little, I'll just be maybe not up to 5% increment compared to the previous year. Maybe because some people tell you due to challenges, but I believe when you look at voluntary compliance, says a lot about the state, because you cannot quantify life. What we are saying, all these regulations, they are meant to achieve 4 things. When you look at the regulation, you talk about the standards, you talk about the sanity, you talk about safety, and what? Security. 4X. That is the objective of the regulation. And I keep on saying that when you look at, I believe that when you comply with the rules, it goes a long way, speak volume about the attitude of the drivers, of the motorists. As long as you are on the wheel, whether you are a governor, or you are a commissioner, you are a PS or director, you are a driver, you must be able to comply with the rules which is better for all of us.
Exactly.
And we will continue to do enlightenment in the continuous things for us, so that people will get to know the main reason why we want voluntary compliance. We are not after their fines. People will tell us LASMA was established to generate revenue. No. LASMA was established, for example, to what? To ensure what? Sanity on our roads.
Exactly.
Free flow of traffic. It's about service, not about revenue. LASMA is service oriented. Revenue is just secondary school for errant motorists.
Yes.
Revenue is just, but the main purpose is to give service to the people. Not about, so people are missing it.
Exactly.
That is why we continue to engage our officers to be able to tell them the main purpose of their existence or the agency in which they work for. It's not about service, and that is why we need to also educate the public and to also educate our own internal customer, which is the officers.
Exactly.
The public is the motorists,
end user,
and the internal one is what is the LASMA official, and also the vehicle special officers to be able to comply with the rules and regulations of the state.
Great economies are built on good transportation network. This is why Lagos State Government through LAMATA has been working tirelessly to enhance the state's transport infrastructure and implement the Strategic Transport Master Plan (STMP) for Lagos and create a world-class transport network for the metropolis. The STMP would deliver 6 rail lines, 1 monorail, 14 BRT routes, 26 water transport routes, 3 cable car routes, and several road interventions to promote the integration of the transport modes. When all these projects are completed, there will be lower emission, leading to better health for all, lower road crashes, better quality of life, and faster economic growth. With the BRT already running in some corridors, jetties being upgraded, and rail line from Okokomaiko to CMS coming on board soon, life of Lagosians in the face of Lagos is changing every day. A healthier and more prosperous Lagos is in the making, and LAMATA is driving it. LAMATA, keeping Lagos moving.
If you're just joining on the Lagos Transportation Agenda, we're discussing traffic law regulation in the overall picture of traffic management in Lagos State with the Permanent Secretary in the State Ministry of Transportation, Engineer Abdulhafis Toriola. Engineer Toriola, let's look at, again, flowing from what we were saying before the break, level of synergy, this time between your ministry, the transportation, and other ministries, you know, who have either a major role to play or peripheral role to play in ensuring effective implementation of transport policies and traffic management policies.
Thank you very much. There is no way Ministry of Transport can be able to achieve its vision without the support of other ministries. For example, Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. In those days, the Ministry of Works will just go on and construct road. Then later we now start putting what's called road furnitures, like the bus stop, median barrier, or lay-by, or traffic light. But now, at the concept of the design, they will inform the Ministry of Transportation to be able to put in their own input into the design they are having. And I think that has gone a long way to improve our road infrastructure in Lagos State. We now sign off before they now award the contract to a contractor who will now construct the facilities. We are talking about that infrastructure, I think, which has gone a long way. We carried our own study too before we now know where to put the bus stops, where to put the traffic lights, where to put the lay-by, which I think it has gone a long way. And we also work with Ministry of Environment too, which is also very key. When you talk about the pollution and the street trading on the major road, you see some traders, they will bring their goods to the media, which is critical.
Exactly.
Because any obstruction on the road, you must remove it. If not, it's going to affect people of traffic. So we are being partnered with the Ministry of Environment to remove those traders off the road, and they can trade outside maybe the road setback and so on, not to come to the road and start trading. I don't know if you have seen this.
Yes, of course.
And a lot of things. And we also work with Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development. There's a ministry called Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, because before they give approval to commercially design development, the Ministry of Works normally, Ministry of Transport normally do what's called TIA, Traffic Impact Assessment. We look at the effect of that structure they want to put on existing road. You have to look at the safety of such a building, the effect of that building or development on the existing road when it comes to the volume of vehicles, because you have to consider it, and you have to consider the general environment critically before you now say, okay, this development will contribute to this road in terms of number of vehicles on the road, then the safety aspect of coming in and going out of such development. So we will now come up with some factor that will mitigate against those effects I've mentioned. So we work with the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development to be able to do our own theory, forward it to them, so that the developer will know what to do. We also need local knowledge of the existing LASMA officers on that road to be able to compare that, combine that with your own study, which we are going to carry out on the existing road, coupled with the structure that will come in. So we work with Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, Environment, and Works, and other agencies that we know that our activities will impact on their own, and their own activity will also impact on their own. You know, transport is a derived demand, and is the will of any economy. It is very key. So we work with other agencies. I've just mentioned three that are very, very critical. Very critical, that I think there is no way they will exist, we not exist. This is very critical.
Very complementary in terms of functions. Let me go into yet another area of complementarity. This time between the government of Lagos State, as far as transportation is concerned, and number one, neighboring states, because Lagos State is like a hub. And there's a lot of things that are happening in Lagos that affect neighboring states like Ogun State and so Ondo State, etc. And then the relationship between the cooperation, if you like, between Lagos and Ogun State and these other states, and that is on the one hand, and the federal government on the other hand. What is that relationship, and how can it be maximized from your point of view?
Whatever we are doing in Lagos, we just need to carry out. We just need to carry along the Ogun State government, because there's this slang people say, second Lagos, first Lagos, third Lagos. I don't know if you have heard that slang. But people living in around they call it Ibafo, Mowe, then Songo. You know, Songo is close to Lagos when you look at the Abdulhafis side. And when you look at Bega, talk about Mowe, Ibafu. I don't know if you are getting this line.
Yes.
So, and the activity, and most people who even work in Lagos, they live in those places, those areas. I mean, those towns.
There's really no demarcation that you can see.
Even Yakoyo, like what they call the place Yakoyo. I don't know if you know that.
Yes,
Akute, I don't know.
Yes.
So you also need to carry them along. There's no way. So that they'll be able to comply with our own rules. And whatever we are doing, we normally carry them along. And there is this master plan that integrates Ogun State with Lagos State in terms of urban development. So just talking about rail, even when the rail we are doing in Lagos State, the red line to cross across Alagbado, which is at the boundary of Lagos and Ogun State. So whatever we are doing, we normally carry them along. And some of our, like I said, a lot of people live in Ogun State and they work in Lagos State. So we have to factor them and let their government know that this is what we are doing, so that they will be able to complement our own efforts here. Not that we are just trying to maybe put some restriction for their movement. No, you can come, you can, that's what you call, you can go in transit, come from Ogun State, come to Lagos, just abide by our rules.
Exactly.
Once you abide by, we don't have any problem with anybody. But while coming to Lagos in transit, they must comply with rule and regulation of the state. So we have been working with Ogun State. Like I said, there's no way you can remove Ogun State from development of Lagos State. So it's very key we work with them. On the riverine area, just like what you said, we are very close to Ondo State. People don't know.
Yeah.
Through the waterways.
Yeah.
So you also need to, is that some things you have to also extend to them. And mind you, we are trying to reduce the pressure on the road by developing other modes of transportation. Talking about the rail and waterways too. I don't know if you're aware. So we are also developing, and we also need to carry them along because of the effect. You know, the land is very scarce in Lagos. It's like a goat. So people now have alternative of going to Ogun State, buy land, but they work in Lagos. So there's no way we will not need their assistance or cooperation to be able to ensure that we have sanity on Lagos Road.
Wonderful. So now, away from the public sector participation and that you have so well enumerated, Lagos is a commercial hub, as I mentioned. So the private sector is a key player in developments in this mega city that we have. Present, what's the current status of engagement with the private sector, corporate Nigeria? And how do you envisage that, where that cooperation or that engagement is going in the short term, the medium term, in the long term, between the Lagos State government and its agencies, respective agencies, and the private sector, in making sure that we have the kind of transportation, ecosystem that works, maximally for everybody?
Yeah, thank you very much. I must tell you that the government resources is limited. There is no way government alone can put all the infrastructure in place. When you look at the team's agenda of Mr. Governor, the first component there is traffic management and what? Transportation. And under traffic management, we have components. One of the components is private sector initiative or private sector investment. So I can tell you we have been engaging in private sector to also provide some services for us. When you look at our enforcement, we have introduced in Lagos State, which other states are now copying it. Also to ensure that they also do the same thing in the states too. The ANPR, automatic number plate recognition, which we did in conjunction with the private sectors. Look at our bus reform program. We also have some bus operators on our BRTs. We talk about Oshodi to Abule, even Ikodu to race course. We have some private sector we are bringing in. Even in our waterways, apart from having Lag Ferry, we also have private sector running our waterways too. So there is no way, even our road development, the 4th mainland bridge will be driven by the private sector. I mean, the 4th mainland bridge. So we are not leaving private sector alone. Like I said, resources of government is limited. And the only thing we can do is to partner with them to develop the state holistically. That is what we are doing. So they have been involved. Like I said, we have in the team's agenda, the first pillar, traffic management and assumption, there is a component talking about private investment, which we are keen into, to be able to develop the state, and so that people can have the dividend of the democracy in the state. Thank
you so much. It's been always a pleasure talking with you, and we thank you for your time, Engineer Hafiz Toriola. We thank you for carving out of your busy schedule to be with us on the show. I've been speaking with the Permanent Secretary of the Lagos State Ministry of Transportation, Engineer Abdulhafis Toriola, on traffic management generally and traffic law regulations in particular. Thank you for being with us up to this time on the show. I hope you join me next week at this time on this channel for yet another interesting discourse on the Lagos transportation agenda. Until then, this is Austin saying, take care, bye-bye, and God bless.